All right. So this topic has to deal with being aware of your surroundings and why you need to be around your surroundings and different places you should be in your um, in a public area. Um, this also covered looking out for cameras, hidden cameras, people that are hiding, um, and that kind of thing. Kind of getting a good synopsis of what's going around you. Number one, you want to know what's going on around you because most people are buried in their phones, they're buried into their technologies, their iPads, their tablets, and that just leaves them vulnerable to attack. So, for a person that is a self defense practitioner or a martial artist or law enforcement or military or anything like that, you want to be able to know what's going on around you at all times. When you first start doing practicing this, you're gonna feel a little overwhelmed, but you may even feel a little bit of like you're freaking a little bit, that kind of thing. But you just basically gotta calm the mind and get used to what's going around you. You already intuitively know how to pay attention to things around you and things move fast, things that flash, different colors, different reactions, different people off of the looks that they give, or it could be anything, but you already know it. It's already built into you. This is a lecture is to let you be more you know, what if you don't notice in America predominantly. Yeah, most of the time, I did a women's self-defense class for a large body of women at a church, and I had a writing from a kidnapper that they had gotten, and the kidnapper actually disclosed what he was looking for, why he was looking for it. And if you know your enemy and know how your enemy thinks, you know how to defeat your enemy before you even get to them. So that's one of the things you want to be able to do. So most of the times when people are trying to attack somebody, looking for easy prey. They don't really want to get the big Arnold Schwarzenegger of the group, or they don't want to get the Rock of the group or the Hulk of the group. They want to get that person that's not really paying attention, not keen. It's what's going on. A lot of people walk around with earphones in their ears. When you're in public, I know you do want to zone out. You want to be in your own world. You're probably tired of being around people, but you still need to know what's going on around you. You need to know where you are in time and space. And if one of the things you're going to need is your senses, all of your senses, even the ones that most people don't even know they have, but they know they have, like the gut feelings that you get. If you're gonna vibe, listen to some music and vibe out, maybe pull one earplug out a little bit so you can still hear what's going on. Noise cancellation, earphones and these kind of things. Um, you want to turn those off when you're in public. Now you can go ahead on and zone off if maybe if you're on an airplane or something and you feel like basically you're sealed in the area, but anything can happen in there in a split second can be life or death. So it's been many times that all I did was pay attention to what's going on around me. One time I was in, where was it at? I was in up north in Ohio, and they basically did a loudspeaker like, "We're looking for a kid." Everyone is looking around for the kid, even the people around me. But I found the kid instantly. You know why? Because I already had scanned the area. I knew where everybody was. I knew where everyone was going. I that's into this just naturally do this when these people are trying to kidnap, grab you, attack you, whatever, they want to get the drop on you. I just want to make sure and convey that. Now, when you come into an area, you'll go ahead and scan the area. When you sit down in a restaurant or you sit down somewhere, you want to be able to see all the exits in the room. So that way, you know who's going and who's coming. You do this for your safety, okay? All right. Um, if you see, here's some signs to look for. There's some things now. When I when when I tell you these things, you have to you can't just assume that this person is what I tell you that they are. You have to use your common sense. Case in point, everyone knows what a white van is. So here at this camp, I drive a white van. So the kids looking at me all suspiciously because I'm driving a white van because somebody told them that somebody in the white van could kidnap them. But so then every time they see the van, they're all wondering, well, maybe, or do you kidnap one girl, little girl asked me, do you kidnap people? And I was like, no, I don't. Then she asked me, is there any candy in the van? I told her, no, there's no candy in the van because if there was any in there, I would have ate it. So, so with that said, like she's showing that she's intelligent, but she's showing a lack of intelligence therein. She doesn't figure out that this is a company vehicle, and most company vehicles are white, and that the van has windows. Like, no one's gonna want to kidnap somebody with windows. Like, okay, it probably happens, but just think if you think about the guy I was talking about. He talks. This is something he talks about. I know I'm jumping around a lot, but keep up with me. He says he looks for people that are not paying attention, people that are weak, people that are distraught or distracted. Those are the people that he wants. And one of the things he talked about how he gets them. He allotted them and tell them a lot of people don't realize that people will be like, "Can you help me find my puppy?" or "Can you help me find my daughter?" And then a lot of people don't realize nowadays that people you are using women now. So you'll see a pretty woman or something come up and knock on your door, and then you're like, "Oh man, I'm supposed to answer the door. Mama told me not to answer the door. Daddy told me not to answer the door." Or you're a grown man and you see this attractive female outside the door, and, and you probably think, "Wait, is this my wife or girlfriend trying to trick me, or is this Jehovah Witness, or is it really someone on the door, then Big Bubba come through and finish kicking in the door because you opened it and they attack you and abduct you. A lot of times, people will have women go get like little girls and talk to little girls and then take off with a little girl, so you don't think nothing of it. You just think you feel a little girl, you're just talking to another little girl or a woman, an older woman. You think everything's safe, and then they take you around the corner and the big bad man is there. So with that said, you really have to pay attention and read what's going on. But with that said, take what I say as I say this. You want to look for people that has weapons. Now, in Texas, we're allowed to open carry. Just because you see somebody with a gun on their hip doesn't mean that you need to call the police on them. Just if you see a dude in baggy pants, listen to rap, and he got a gun on his side and he's talking whatever like that, and you say, "Oh man, maybe this is a bad guy." Be careful because in Texas you can't open carry. So now you go call the police on a person, and now that person may be mad at you. Person might turn around and get a police report or whatever like that, and they get a hold of the police report. They got your name, number, address, where your mama live, and all that stuff. And now you got people that would never ever try to attack you. Now they want to attack you. So with that said, you want to go head on and just like kind of mind your own business, but yet be observant. So a lot of times, if someone has most people that not that many bad people carry holsters. So if it's in a holster or something like that, you know that that's probably most bad people just put it in their waistband. But with that said, if they put it in their pocket or something, they'll be wearing a coat maybe in the summertime. They're wearing a coat in the summertime and they're sweating. And you wonder why are they wearing a coat? Probably because they got a gun on them, a legal gun on them. Sometimes the coat will shift from one side because the gun is so heavy it push one pocket down and brings one pocket up. So just do that. Make notice to somebody that keeps checking or adjusting something in their waistband. They probably have a gun. Um, Pay attention to how people are acting when they move. When they come to a room and they just like, if they're watching everything that's going on, they're either one of you guys or maybe they're up to no good. So you're just gonna keep an eye on them. Sometimes if you feel like something, if you have a bad gut feeling about a situation or a person, Joan and leave the area. There's no reason for you to have to stay there or whatever like that because it's been times where like I went to particularly a church and I just felt like something was wrong. So I offered my services as a martial art instructor and a security forces trainer and that kind of thing to get their church up to par. And they basically turned me down and I didn't even want any money or anything. They disgustingly turned me down. That same woman that basically wouldn't even let me see the pastor, she got shot later on, and then the pastor was killed. So feel what's going on around you and feel what's going on. It's been people that say, like, I don't feel right with this person around. I don't feel this person makes me feel uncomfortable, like kind of thing. So listen to your just and listen to how you are, whatever like that. Sometimes people um, um, will do that wrong. Like they'll say, like there's people that's never been through cultural diversity classes, so they sometimes they'll get a large black man come into the room, and they so I feel uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable. Well, they don't never they're not culturally diverse, so they don't even know this person's just trying to do seek out whatever they're trying to do, whatever they want an ice cream, or maybe they want a snack, or maybe they want a Starbucks, or whatever like that. So, like some of these people, so that's why us as martial artists, we already in a cultural diversity situation where we're learning Korean, we're learning different languages, we're learning account, different languages, we're learning different philosophies, that kind of thing. But sometimes that will fall in there, and some people will kind of look at you funny. For instance, when I went to the airport not too long ago. I'm scanning the airport. The airport is a high risk area. Anytime you're in a theater, a church, a high public area, that's where things could probably happen. So that I'm scanning the area. Well, of course, the police officers got caught of me looking. They're looking at me and they're using their cameras and stuff like that. Well, you can tell when people are watching you. Go ahead on and you just still conduct yourself normal and let them do their little investigation. And of course, they never said anything to me. They went on their merry way because they figured out what I was doing. They found out I was protecting the group that I was with at the airport. And now, anytime anybody came too close to the people I'm supposed to be watching, I kind of leaned and looked at my attention. They got my full attention, and they kind of got the gist of it. So, what they said, you just continue as business as usual. But when it comes to law enforcement, make sure if you meet eyes with law enforcement, give them a slight or acknowledge that they're there or whatever like that. Just give them a quick nod or nothing like that. Or, just keep on acting like they're not even there. You can do one or the other, but just a little bit going through it, but just don't freak out, because then you look suspicious. Suspicion is enough for someone to question you, okay? With that said, when you're scanning the area that you're in, you want to be in a location, as I said earlier, where you can see where people are going and where people are coming. Okay. That's just for your safety. You want to know where all the exits are because if anything happens, you want to know how to get you and your party out of that situation. Okay. You want to make notice if there's anything you use as a weapon. You want to know anything that you can hide behind. You want to know if anything that looks out of place. Now we'll talk about cameras. Anytime you're in a public area or in someone else's house or a location, always assume that you are under surveillance. So watch what you say, watch what you do, and just pay attention. Now, in the day age that we live now, anything could be a camera. Anything. I don't want you to be paranoid or something like that, or develop schizophrenia overnight, or paranoid schizophrenia overnight, or anything like that. But I just want you to conduct yourself positively all the time. You don't know when you are recorded. If you are being talked to by law enforcement, you're probably already being recorded. If you're in a church service or something like that, you're already being recorded because they're recording the service and the reaction of people are having with the pastor and the choir and the praise and worship team. I already know that. If you're in a school, you're already under surveillance. Okay. If you're in a subway, if you're in an airport, if you're in any kind of thing or in any company, always assume if something ever happens, assume that you can get the footage, but assume that you can't, because sometimes a party can basically make that disappear. So with that said, so all the reason why I say this is because as martial artists, you should always be conducting yourself as a positive way, being a light bringer and that kind of thing. But at the same time, be mindful that you could be more recorded anytime. Be careful what you say, when you say, and how you say it, and listen to what people say when they say and how they say it. Okay. Sometimes you're going to see cameras that are blatantly right there in front of you. You're going to actually run into dummy cameras. Don't assume that every camera you see is real or operational. You'd be surprised how many people set up dummy cameras, or how many cameras just don't work, or some cameras have been disabled. So you just never know. Especially Walmart, and Walmart just know you're being recorded all the time. So conduct yourself positive and stuff like that. The reason why I'm telling you this is because you should know when you're being recorded and when you're not being recorded. You should know that you should already walk into a room, scan the room. Light bulbs can be a recording, as you already know. Teddy bears can be recorders. Ceiling fans, plugs that you plug into the walls. One thing you want to do sometimes there's actually apps you can get to help you, or technology you can get to help you sweep a room and find bugs. Sometimes you can use the camera on your cell phone. You can look at the camera on the cell phone, and the camera on the cell phone can pick up lights that you can't, especially if it's infrared light, and then you can't see it, and then you'll just be like, why is this thing glowing in in my phone camera and not? When you go into hotels, you want to be extremely careful. You'd be surprised how many cameras are in there. So, with that said, be very careful with your privacy and that kind of thing. You should pay attention with that. When you walk into a room or any location, it is a historical place. Everything was placed there probably by accident or on purpose, most of the time on purpose. So pay attention to what's around you and how it is placed. You'd be surprised how the room will tell a story that you were never there, but you can pay attention to different things in a room. Where things are located, why they're located, why is this out of place, why is this in place? So you do want to pay attention to that. Finally, you yourself should be using some kind of surveillance. Like, for instance, if you have a house, or when you get older, if some of you guys are kids, some of you guys are adults, you want to have some kind of DVR. You can get a DVR for under $20, $50, or depending on all the way up to thousands of dollars. But you want to just get a camera a little bit at a time, so that way you know what's going on around. Be careful placing cameras in your house in private locations, because if anything ever happens, they can be seized by law enforcement. So be very careful. But at the same time, you do want to have something covering your front door, and do not do illegal activity in front of your camera. Because people are able to hack cameras, phones, laptops. You'd be surprised, in 6 or 7 minutes, you do not do this, but in 6 or 7 minutes, people have went and been able to learn to hack televisions, phones, and all kind of stuff. Okay, and you'd be surprised what people are doing nowadays. People can edit your video, take clips of your video, and that kind of like. So be careful when you are in different places or whatever like that. Sometimes it's better um, to have receipts of times or where you've been, timestamps on your phone, who you called, and that kind of thing. If now, let's cover some things that you need to do if it's something goes wrong with you. Let's say in a room or something's happening. Let's say you're in a coffee shop, and of course someone comes in with a gun. Okay, if you can, no, no, just put your hands under the table, dial 911, turn down your volume or whatever like that. Or if you can already notice what's going on, if you already know somebody suspicious is coming into the store, and somebody else is suspicious coming into the store, maybe you need to go ahead and leave. You do not need to be the hero. Maybe you need to get out of Dodge. You see a bunch of people running. Okay. All right. If anything ever does happen, and there's some call a stampede, make sure if you fall down, grab the person as they're climbing or stepping over you. Grab the person as they step on you, and their inertia and their energy will bring you back to your feet. If you lose grip, grab the next person, or no, so you can get trampled. Be close to the exits. That way, if something happens, you're close to the exits already. You're already close to the exits. You still want to see egress and digress. Ingress is coming in, digress is coming out. You want to see all the flow that goes on. And you'll be surprised as you start doing this, how easy it becomes. The key is not to overreact when you're watching everything that goes around you. It's like a dance, it's like you're watching a movie, everything around you. If you're on your computer, if you're on your phone, glance up, look around you, or whatever. Pay attention. Now, another thing is, if someone does it's out of place or whatever, you look right at them, let them know that you can see them. Look right back over them, maybe give them a smile, a nod, or whatever, or just look at them. And then most of the time they're like, well, let me move on to the next one. This person knows that I'm watching them or whatever like that. You'd be surprised how many police officers you'll find hiding and just hiding, and most people don't even see them. You'd be surprised how many people are just like hiding. You'd be surprised. And you are at night, you do need to have some kind of flashlight, that kind of thing. You need to shine the area around you, know where you are. You don't need to have light on all the time, but still know flashlight what's around you. So these are some key things that can help you. All right. If anything does happen or whatever, relax. Remember the training that we did in the martial art class, where you're going to run, you're going to hide under things, make sure that they are bulletproof. You don't want to hide behind a styrofoam box and like, I'm safe. Or you go hide behind a little stick and then they're shooting you like, oh, I'm behind a stick, I'll be all right. Maybe so. I just this is conclusive, but I just really want you guys to understand to scan what's going on around you. Pay attention to things that are suspicious. Like, use your common judgment, your common sense. Use your common judgment. Use your mind. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to all your sights, your smells, everything. Go ahead on and below. Go ahead and type in what you learn, what you think, and if you could add anything else to this, add some other safety tips that'll help you. All right. Thank you. Have a blessed day. God bless. Godspeed.